What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the 31 Days of Horror. I am your host, Mood616, and thank you once again for stopping in, guys. Yes, 31 Days of Horror Volume 7, Day 2, coming at you live. And yes, for today, we're going to dive into a film that was released by one of Vinegar Syndrome's sister companies, VHShitfest. They have been around for a long time, but I'm glad to see that they did a partnership and they're starting to put out Blu-rays and stuff like that. And when I saw this title, it just instantly got me so happy because I've been wanting to see this movie for, I don't remember when I first discovered this. I read about this and it seemed like it was such an oddity that I had to see it. But the thing is, it was lost in VHS obscurity. It never had really a wide release at all. It was sold independently back in 1997. So it was kind of one of those stuck in VHS obscurity that, people knew about, but really no one had actually seen before. So I was very happy to see it get like a bigger release through Vinegar Syndrome and VHShitfest. And the film is from 1997, like I said, and it's called The Cornshukker. Now, when I first read about this, it must have been 15, 16, 17 years ago, something like that. This artwork right here on the VHS is what captivated me. I was like, oh, that looks really unique and odd. And I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. I just remember them kind of explaining the movie, that it was shot in black and white and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, that's really interesting from 1997 and stuff like that. So, piqued my interest. All right, so The Cornshukker from 1997. Get into synopsis on this one. Basically, this one is about the Cornshukker. He is like a mythical creature. He's kind of living off the land. He lives in like this abandoned type house. He keeps to himself. He feeds off corn and just basically lives in peace until the town folks start to get a little bit crazy and they start to invade his space and stuff like that. Beginning of the film, he gets this old man comes to meet him and he spits this crazy ass dialogue and stuff like that. One thing leads to another. The old man isn't seen after that. So now basically the rest of the film is just a bunch of like the town folks coming to invade his space, and they're just having all these weird conversations with him and stuff like that. Anyways, the sheriff gets wind that old man Thomas hasn't been seen in a few days, and of course the town folks get all pissed off and stuff like that, and they assume it's the Cornshukker that probably did this guy in, and so they're out for revenge and stuff like that. So that is basically the basic premise of the Cornshukker. Now, my thoughts on this movie. Okay, so right off the beginning of the film, you notice that it's shot in black and white. It's shot in full screen. Okay, so this originally was shot on 16 millimeter. They lost the original elements, so they had to transfer it over from a VHS. Now, to my surprise, the video quality on this movie is actually really good. It sounds good. The video quality is really good, even though it was transferred over from a VHS master to Blu-ray. So right there, I was actually quite surprised. But from the opening scene in the film with the Cornshukker and old man Thomas having this weird kind of dialogue where the Cornshukker's eating like cornbread and old man Thomas is spitting all this craziness and stuff like that, you notice right away it totally has a David Lynch feel to it. It's shot in black and white. It's very odd. It's shot odd. And it just has that Eraserhead type quality to it. You can tell it was definitely one of the influences throughout the film because a lot of the characters are very odd. There's a lot of very weird scenes. There's a lot of very odd dialogue. Very Lynchian. So you kind of have to put that direct comparison right there because that's exactly what you're going to feel. Especially if you're a really big fan of David Lynch and Eraserhead, you can't help but notice in the first 5 minutes that that's got to be a direct influence. It even says on the back here, but it's so obvious to all film lovers that that's what's going on here. But the character, the Cornshukker himself, is a very interesting character because he really doesn't talk. He just says, the only thing that he says is, I know, because he literally knows. Like, he can tell it, he has, like, telepathy and stuff like that, and he basically knows everything. He's like this mythical creature that has so many types of myths around him, different names and things like that. Like, people know about him, but they don't really know him at all and stuff, so they're intrigued, and that's kind of what the film is people coming in and out and kind of bugging them and things like that. There's so many weird scenes in here and just strange oddities. Like, there's a scene where this pizza guy's making this pizza and he's doing these weird dances and shit, and it's just like so awkward and strange and weird. Like, almost every scene in this film is just bizarre. The whole film is basically made up of like non-actors and stuff. The director even said that he pretty much put his whole family in here. The Cornshukker's played by his brother. He's got his grandma in here. He's got like just everyone that he knows is basically in this film. There's like no actors besides two. You can tell right away who the actors are in this movie. There's a preacher who does a really good job. He spits some craziness, and the sheriff, who is legitimately really good in the film too. So So you pretty much know what you kind of get with the acting and stuff like that. It's a little bit awkward at times, but it fits the filmmaking and the actual narrative of the movie, which is kind of here and there. It's kind of interesting. But the Cornshukker, man, what an oddity, man. It's a really short film. It only runs about an hour long. I had no idea this thing was going to be that short. It's very strange, but it's captivating right from the beginning. I like movies like David Lynch with like weird dialogues and just the way things are shot and static and stuff like that. I like stuff like that. So this one is it's interesting. It's not going to be for everybody because it's going to feel like it doesn't really have a big narrative to it. Now, when you get to the horror elements of the film, that's where it's kind of interesting because it's labeled as a horror film. There's no effects in this film besides basically the brother shaving his head and being painted white, who all pretty much looks like powder. I know that people have done that direct comparison, but I remember when I first saw the slipcover, I was like, it looks like fucking powder on the cover. But yeah, the horror elements of the film are pretty much not there. It's more in the bizarreness and the way it's shot and just kind of the underlying themes that are in the film. Did the Cornshukker make this guy disappear? Like there's this mob at the end. It's very reminiscent of like Night of the Living Dead in a sense, man. They want blood, you know, kind of thing. And it just has that kind of feel to it. And, but yeah, there's no effects. The director even said that they weren't effects artists and stuff like that. So that's probably why they never really did anything else. Plus, I don't think it was the Cornshukker's character to really be doing that type of horrific stuff. But with that said, though, it's if you were to watch this film on the surface, you'd be like, okay, it doesn't even really seem like a horror film. But you know, in a sense, it kind of is, though. But, yeah, definitely very odd and different. That's all I can say. Again, this one is not shot on video. I know people are going to be like, it's shot on video. Shit. No, it's not actually shot on video. But, and it's kind of cool, though, man. There is an audio commentary on here, which I listened to around the first 20-25 minutes of the commentary. I just wanted to make sure that I was right about the opening scene with Old Man Thomas, because I'm like, this scene is so funny. And I'm like, right away when I'm watching this scene, I'm like, this dude is totally reading cue cards. Sure as shit, he confirmed it. He was reading cue cards because he wasn't an actor and apparently couldn't remember his lines, so they had to do cue cards for him, but it's pretty obvious. Yeah, there's some like little weird kind of tidbits in there and stuff like that. But yeah, there's a music video. There's also an interview with the director too, which I watched. It's about 8 minutes long and stuff like that. So you get a little bit of insight to the film and stuff, and you gain a little bit more appreciation for what you saw. Because I wasn't entirely sure what I had just watched. I was like, okay, I watched this thing. I'm like, I'm not even sure if I really like this movie or not. I was kind of taken back that it was so short and also the lack of horror elements in it. But then the more I thought about it after I watched it, I was like, you know, it's kind of like it's not there, but it's there, if you know what I mean. So if I had to rate this one, I'm going to come in at a 6 out of 10. It's such a strange movie that I can't help but stop thinking about it. It's just odd. I would love to see like them redo this movie. Like same director, just take this core idea, do it the same, but just explore it a little bit more. Maybe put a little bit more horror elements into it and kind of expand it a little bit too. I think there's a lot here with the Cornshukker, man. There's one really cool idea in the film, and it's odd where the Cornshukker actually pisses corn. I thought that was really cool. It's kind of a strange idea, but they show it. It's kind of weird. But yeah, the Cornshukker, I don't know if I can fully recommend this to people, but if you like weird, strange Lynch movies and just oddities in general, maybe give this one a shot. I don't even know if you guys can even see it. It's coming off very, very bright right there. But anyways, that's all I got to say on the Cornshukker, man. It's this review is like a certain percentage of the movie length, man. So, but anyways, guys, that's gonna do it for day 2 here on the 31 Days of Horror Volume 7. I can't believe this is the 7th time I've done this. It's crazy. But hope you guys enjoyed day 1. Hope you guys are enjoying your October. It's the best month of the year, isn't it, guys? So we get to explore lots of films. And mostly this month, I'm going to be doing pretty much all first-time watches. Like, I compiled a bunch of movies for this specifically to do that I haven't really seen. And I thought I usually do a few rewatches and things like that, but I've got a pretty interesting kind of watch list for this month. So hopefully things are better than worse. You know, sometimes when you haven't watched things before and you review them, it turns out not the greatest, but we know that. So anyways, I digress. I'm out of here, guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow on day 3, which of course, day 3 is my birthday, October 3rd. I am really fucking old. Yes, I'm 42. So anyways, guys, I'll check you guys tomorrow. Deuces!